Coming up next on the Afro Tech Talk podcast.
Okay. I started learning tech when I was leaving the university because I felt what would be next after university. So I made my research. I said, okay, tech is like becoming a very big market, especially in Africa. I told them I just studied geography. I'm a graduate of geography, but I want to go into tech. They were like, "Are you sure you don't really have the solid background? You didn't do anything like computer science?" I said, "If other people can learn, why won't I learn?" So I will not. I won't keep aside imposter syndrome. It is something that a lot of tech people when they start they are scared that if I put out my work out there, what will it be like? Open source is another community that is very big, and what you can do on open source, if you're on GitHub, you can look out for open source projects.
Hi there, and welcome to this podcast. I am Andrew Aloka.
And I'm Diana Ayo. Thanks for tuning in. On the Afro Tech Talk podcast, we speak to tech experts, individuals in the tech space, as well as young people about the latest trends and innovations in Africa to explore how tech is transforming their society. We filter our guests' profound insights into actionable guidance, empowering listeners to find inspiration and actively participate in the ongoing tech revolution.
If you are new to the show or would want to recommend our podcast to your friends and family, our starter packs are a great place for you to get hooked. We understand that it can be a bit hard to get started, so for this, we have our episodes segmented into different topics that will have you started right away. Visit afrotechtalk.africa.
Today, we speak to Priscilla Ume, who has had an incredible journey into the tech space.
Good morning, Priscilla. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Andrew.
Good to have you on this call.
Thank you so much.
So, we'll ask you a few questions though. We are
Okay.
very sure our listeners would want to find out who we're actually speaking with today. So, can you tell us something about yourself?
Okay, my name is Priscilla Umeakuekwe. I'm a front-end web developer. I've worked with various companies where I built web interfaces. I've used HTML, CSS, JavaScript to build pages. I've also worked with WordPress to build full blown websites with multiple functionalities. I'm also a member of the Google Developers Group, the Women in Tech section. And also, do I have much to say? I don't think I have much to say about myself, but that's just it for me. Well, I studied geography before I came into tech, so I think that's one thing about me I love to share, and that'll be it.
Okay, so I just want you to walk us through that journey of tech. You
Okay,
know, how it started, how it's going, and where you see it going.
okay. I started learning tech when I was leaving the university because I felt what would be next after university. So I made my research. I said, okay, tech is like becoming a very big market, especially in Africa. So I decided to go and put my head down and learn what this tech is all about and what it will have for me. So what I did was I enrolled in a boot camp, a physical class thereabout. So when I enrolled, I was learning what to do with HTML, just um website skills. So along the line, I also learned how to use WordPress. I got an online internship also. So I started learning it, and by the help of God, I got a physical internship. That was my first internship I got, where I was now working with a real team, no longer a training. So I was working with the real team, and we built a health management software. So I worked with the front end team. So those health management software where they care for the key population persons. So that was my first encounter in the real sense of tech, learning how to use GitHub, how to commit your codes, and from there also I got another. I now left. I went to another tech office. Then I grew to an extent of where I could handle a team, and also we're also building websites for them. We also engaged in doing NFTs. We had an e-market. So all those I was contributing in building them. And it was not easy at first though. It was challenging. Yeah. With the side effects of imposter syndrome, I was confused. I was like, can I do this? Can I not do this? So, but all the same, with consistency, I am where I am today, and I am sure that in years to come, tech will take me to where I want to be an expert, to be a senior developer. That is what I want to be. That's what I'm aiming for. I think that's it.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting. And then also from what I learned about you, at some point you were into the beauty, I think beauty pageants or something. Yeah, you actually won.
Yes,
Is
I
that
did.
correct? You
Yes,
actually
I
won.
did. I did.
That was interesting. So, what was the shift like? Moving from beauty and all those things, fashion design, and then moving into tech because this seemed like two totally different.
Yes, yes, it's a different part. Yes, it was a very distant part. Okay,
Yeah.
when I did that beauty contest, I was still in the university though. So I enrolled for it as a competition. So we're asked to just make some videos and the rest. So luckily for me, I won. So I had to. Then I was also engaged in fashion in the wrong way. I did the wrong way. So I was feeling okay with my stature. I can do maybe modeling for a while. Let me see what it holds for me.
Yeah.
But I promise you, I didn't go for training for like a month. I left. It was stressful. Yeah, it was. My toes were hurting me. You have to stand on your toes. I was like, can I do this for like 2 years and still survive? I said no. This is not my calling. I also learned how to do makeup. I said okay, let me try makeup. I learned how to do makeup, but I didn't find the fulfillment I needed in those areas. So that was when it struck me. I was like, you need to go back to your drawing board. What do you want to do? Like, what do you want? Where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years? What are you currently doing? Will it take you there in the next 5 years? So I then that was when I started my research. And luckily for me, I on Twitter there was someone I was following, and he kept giving us talks, kept making tweets about how the next generation jobs will be about tech. If you want to stay in the market, you should go and start learning how to do tech and the rest. So when I finished reading that Twitter thread, that was where it struck me and said, okay, I said, okay, I think I've done fashion, I've done makeup, I've done combinations and stuff like that. Let me see how I can make me see how I can put this into use, and then maybe see if I can design something as beautiful as doing someone in makeup.
Yeah.
So that was when after then I went on Google, I surfed the internet. I said, okay, there's a difference with the front end, then there's a back end, and relating to what I've done with fashion, the styles and every stuff, I said, okay, that will relate to the front end since it's about beauty, aesthetics, mixing colors, animations, and the rest. So I said, okay, I would go for the front end aspect. So I also did my research. I watched some videos that were introductory to front end development. So I prepared myself first before I applied for the boot camp. So when I went to the boot camp office, they were like, "Okay, what do you know? Where do you come from?" I told them I just studied geography. I'm a graduate of geography, but I want to go into tech. They were like, "Are you sure you don't really have the solid background? You didn't do anything like computer science?" I said, "If other people can learn, why won't I learn?" So they gave me an opportunity. So I
Wow.
started. as I now joined the ongoing class, it was actually confusing at first, something you've never done before. You just heard about it and then you did your
Yeah.
research. So it was kind of confusing, but I had good classmates there. So they were always putting me through whenever I'm confused. So, and out during that process, they got me involved in their community. So whenever I have an issue like this, I always report, maybe reach out to a community person, a community team leader thereabout, and they're always there to assist. They always send in their feedback. Maybe if I'm working on something, I can share. People give me back their feedback. Then if there's any place I need to do better, I try to improve on it. So, that was it though. But
Oh,
it's I will not I won't keep aside imposter syndrome. It is something that a lot of tech people, when they start, they are scared that if I put all my work out there, what will it be like? You know, look, I'm not so confident in myself. Because it's something that affects a whole lot of tech newbies. So, but it's just a mindset. Imposter syndrome is just a mindset. So once you kill it and you know that, fine, no matter what, if I fail, it's better I fail while trying than not to try and I conclude that I fail. So
correct. That's
so
absolutely it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's good to just try and keep trying. And in tech, once you're in tech, just know that you're going to be learning. You keep learning every day. A whole lot of things come out, and for you to stay up to date, you have to learn, and you have to also follow people that know these things. Then
Yeah.
you read from them, you learn from them. When you talk about maybe a framework that's coming up, and you know you're
Mm.
interested in that framework, you can also reach out to them. If they have resources, they will share resources with you and you learn it. But I will also say, when I started, my one of my challenges was trying to learn a whole lot at the same time. And I am always advising people not to do that now,
That's right.
because you cannot be a jack of all trade and master of none. It's
True.
yes.
That's so true.
So it's best to find your passion, find a niche, and build on that niche. Once you build there, you know that you strive to be among the top 5% in that niche. So it's better than scrambling at the down. It's like a pyramid. If you are down there, you are trying to scramble. But if you find your niche, you build
Mm.
and you go up there. So definitely, and of course, it's good when you're in tech. You can always switch. Like me, I'm in front end now. I can decide to go to the back end and say, okay, I want to get my hands dirty with functionalities, with mathematics, with algorithms, and the rest. So I can definitely want to switch, but after I have learnt the front end to an extent, I have become a mid level. I won't say an expert. I will become a mid level person. Then I can say, okay, fine, let me switch, because then it will be easier for me to switch, because I know
True.
about the front end, and at least I have idea also about the back end. Then I can switch. But someone coming into tech, you're doing front end this week. Next week you're doing back end. Upper week you want to do machine learning, AI. The next week you want to do data science. It's just like pouring water on stone. You will not see any result.
True. That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is it.
Something just caught my attention. How long has it taken you to move from the entry level up to the mid level where you are right now?
Okay, I started in 2019 December. That was when I got into the boot camp. But I said, okay, I started my first job in 2021. So from 2021, this is 2023. Okay, like 2 years more. So that's the
Wow.
amount of time. Yes.
Okay. And how easy or how difficult has it been for you to move, from the beauty and all those things, fashion into the tech world? Would you, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Mm.
what would you say it was like?
Okay, switching. I would say, when I left it, I think when I told myself I was going to leave the makeup, the beauty industry, I found it easy, because I didn't derive much fulfillment. Like I said, I did it was not adventurous for me. So just like doing the same thing almost every day, every day, every day, every day. Draw your brows, do your eye makeup, do your eyeshadow, do your lipstick. So just like a normal routine. So when I said, okay, I didn't want to do this anymore, and it took me like a month thereabout to plan, to think, to to research before I made that switch. I say my switch was, I'll give it 7 to 10, a scale of 7.
All right, all right. So I just want you to take us a little bit. You know, you move from HTML, to WordPress. What was the process like?
Okay. When I started out, I was learning HTML. The first site I built was a hotel reservation. I built it with some of my colleagues back then. So there was a day I had a conversation with a friend. So he said, and he was actually the person that also encouraged me to go into tech. So he said, it's not every time you should use HTML CSS to build. There are some things that there are some sites you just want to get it up, get it going. That is where WordPress comes in, because WordPress is already automated. It has everything you need, but you yourself, you just work with the team, work with plugins, and get the website functional and up and running. But if you're using HTML, if you're coding from scratch, it will take you a lot of time, because you have to go to the drawing board, you have to plan, you have to write out all the functionalities, what you want to be seen on that site. You have to, and with this, you keep making changes, time is going, you're going for meetings and every stuff. But if you want to be fast, if you want to make a website very fast and get it going, you have to use WordPress. So that was when I enrolled for a WordPress class. So I learned how to use it. So I've seen senior developers that also use this WordPress, because they'll tell you, if WordPress can do it, then there's no need building it from scratch. To save your time, it's very important. But when it comes to building softwares, that customizing softwares that people can use at the long run, then you have to build from scratch. It's not something you can just go on WordPress and drag and drop. No. So you most time, building from scratch, for me, all the building from scratch I've done, aside the personal one I was doing during my learning days, I've always built in a team. So they'll give me my tasks, and then I will build. So I don't build everything from scratch. So, but for me, I love to use WordPress. I've tried Shopify, but their themes were so expensive. So but WordPress is very affordable, and it gets your job. It gives you a nice job too. Makes your work faster. In tech, you have to learn a lot. Even now, AIs are coming up. There are no code AIs that you can use to build websites in maybe 30 minutes or even an hour thereabout. That's what people say do. But before you build, there's a whole lot of thinking, a whole lot of thought process that goes with it. You don't just wake up and say, okay, I want to build this. You want to build this, what would it do? What's the end result? From here, where do I go next? From this process, where do I go next? You get. So these are the thought processes that goes with it. So when you start building, you have a direction, you have a process flow to follow. You don't just wake up and build blindly. But I know in the future, tech is evolving, so a whole lot is
True.
coming up. AI, for example, now AI is trying to make a massive move. So I'm still going to learn AI. I started though, so I'm still going to learn.
I think I should. I think I should. I should
You
also learn.
should. You should, because as the environment keeps evolving, you too should evolve with it. You should grow with it, because you can't be in the 90s and tech is in the 20s. So
I
you
know.
you
I know,
you just
right?
lose out. So
We need a partnership in this.
yeah,
Andrew,
that's true.
yeah.
So
What's your thoughts?
how far are you with your AI though? Your AI
Okay,
learning?
yeah, my AI, I learned how to use OpenAI, this Chat GPT. I was learning how to use their OpenAI to build my own Chat GPT. So it's still in progress though, and it's actually interesting, because
Mm.
I could ask the AI questions and I get feedback. I can also go back to my history and the rest. But what I'm here to learn and understand is how to build the machine, how to build the models. You get. So that
Okay.
is for machine learners. I'm not a machine learner. I can only just consume their APIs, what they've already built. upon. So that is something, that's what I was working on as of a few months back. So maybe when I host it, I would reach out to you guys to try it out.
We would love to try that out.
That's
So
no
you
problem.
mentioned something about HTML, yeah? So to our listeners, what is HTML?
Okay, HTML is hypertext markup language. Then we have CSS, which is a cascading style sheet. Then we have JavaScript, which is for functionalities. So HTML, I would want to I want to make it easier. I would say, okay,
Mm,
what can we use? Let me use an illustration. Okay, fine. You go to
mm.
let's use a restaurant. I like to use a
Okay.
restaurant illustration. A restaurant, when I get to the restaurant, the building I'm seeing is a HTML. So that building is, I'll use a restaurant, I'll use a building, like an uncompleted building. I'm molding my blocks. I'm trying to set my blocks so that I can build. That is my HTML. HTML is just for you to set your elements. They are what we call elements and tags in HTML. So this will help you know where to set maybe a feature or something. Maybe elements. Example of elements, we have it's a button tag, a link tag, a header, a navigation, all the menu, all the links. Also we yes, those are HTML tags. So for you to use them on your website, you should know where to put it. So building using this HTML now, maybe I put my navigation link up, I put a button below, I want to put a picture, I want to put a video. I just put this, these are bare codes, these are bare tags. They are just there, and when you look at it from your website, it's very ugly. It's just there,
Hmm.
but they can function, yes, but it's just ugly. So once you do that, once I finish building my house now, that is the HTML with the block. So once I
Hmm.
enter the restaurant now, seeing that building alone is my HTML. So when I go into the hotel, when I go into the restaurant, I see the tables, the chairs, the tablecloths, the spoons, and everything. That is where CSS comes in. CSS is for beauty and aesthetics. So if we go back to building my house, when I begin to paint it, when I begin to apply paint, wallpaper, when I begin to put in my TVs, when I begin to put in my chairs, that is where the CSS comes. It gives it beauty. So when you apply this beauty to the main website, when you now view it, okay, fine, you applied a color. Maybe I'm using blue, I'm using red, maybe I'm just using different colors to try things out. So it doesn't just give it a bare look, it now gives it different kind of a redefined look. You can also use your CSS to do animations. You can also maybe in my house I want to get a rolling chair. I will use that rolling chair. I would write a CSS on it so that if I touch that chair, it will roll for me. That's what CSS can do. It helps you do animation. It helps you position those tags. Remember, I said HTML tags are bare elements like my button. When you first use HTML, they are all on the block. They're just there. But if I use CSS, I can position them where I want them to be. I can put one on the top, put one below, put one at the center. That is what CSS will help you do. To help you give that proper arrangement, it will help you give beauty to the tags you've set out there. So people can say, okay, when I'm scrolling through a web page, I can differentiate between sections. I can demarcate between your header. I can demarcate between maybe I'm seeing a picture. The next one is a video. You should be able to like have that demarcation where this stops, where this will start. So CSS will give you the opportunity to redefine the whole HTML, give it beauty, give it colors. So when we get to JavaScript, building my house, I've built the blocks using HTML. I've made beauty using CSS. I've added my chairs. I've added my paint. So now what JavaScript does is to help me open my door. JavaScript is for functionality. So when I get to my house, I have already put my door there. I can't say, oh, you door open. I'm not a prophet. I am so, but
Mm.
I can't just go there and say open and to open. No, I have to open it with my hands. And for it to get open, it's going to be a function. So that's where JavaScript comes in. JavaScript gives you the function of how to use stuffs on your website or in your house. Maybe if I have a fan, I will turn it on. That's the function of the fan. If I have a TV, I turn it on. And all that can be done using JavaScript. So if I going back to the restaurant, if I sit down using the spoon, maybe using the water, anything around me, just ensuring that it works, making sure it works, and that is where JavaScript comes in, placing your order. Your waitress now is going to work as your JavaScript. It's going to connect you to the kitchen, and the kitchen is now the back end. You get, so if I'm sending my waiter from the front end to the back end, it places my orders, and when the food is ready, the waiter brings it back for me. So that the waiter now is now standing in between me, in between the front end and the back end. So that waiter now is now the functionality of the restaurant. So I can call the waiter a JavaScript or an API.
Okay, that's really wonderful. I think at this point our listeners can easily, get that concept right. So, taking you back in history again, the first time you started your journey in tech, did you ever think you would get so far with it? Did you have some targets set or some goals that you wanted to achieve when you started? And did you accomplish it?
Yes, I did. I had some. Okay, I would say I didn't have a substantial goal, but along the line, I learned how to set up my goals and finish them. There's always this challenge in tech that people will start and they don't finish, and you're jumping to the next thing. You're just trying to move on to the next thing, which is very bad. It's also something that affected me. I would want to do, maybe I don't finish my courses. It's very common with tech people. You don't finish your courses, you want to go to the next one, you want to just build everything. So along the line, one of my mentors advised me to set my goals, try to reach them. If I pick a resource to read, if I pick a resource to follow, I should try and see it up to the end. Because if I stop along the way and I'm trying to recreate that stuff, if I have an issue, I'm still stuck, except I come back and finish it. So I set up my goals. Okay, when I started, I was like, okay, if I can get into a real world office and be able to apply these skills, this knowledge I have learned, it's going to be of great use for me. So that was the goal I set, and which also helped me get my first internship, because I was out there, and also I also learned how to put out my progress online, especially on Twitter. So that was one of the things that helped me achieve my first goal. My boss then reached out to me on Twitter. I was like, okay, I've seen your progress. I've seen what you've done. Do you want to join us? Do you like to join us? That was how I got my first. I was like, yes, I should. I want to, because it will give me an opportunity to put into good use what I've been learning. So it doesn't mean I just learn and then keep practicing without applying it in the real life world. So that was what one of the things that helped. That was my first goal. My first goal was to get into a real world office and see how things are done. See how, because I was always hearing about stand up meetings, this one, that one. I was like, I want to experience these stand up meetings. Yeah, well, truthfully, now if you call me for stand up meeting, I'm like, oh, it's just to go and talk. But actually, they are helpful, because you get to you get to share your progress, you get to share your challenges. So people that have encountered these challenges would reach out to you and say, okay, fine, this is how I went through. I had this error, I have been through this part, so this is what you can do to leave that error and stuff like that. So, and my main target is to, what I'm actually wishing for right now as I am, is to get maybe an international job. I'm not ready to start searching yet, but definitely I will. Yes, and become a senior developer with time.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, and
And
of
of
course
course
you'll
you'll
get
get
there.
there. Of course. Thank you, Diana.
You will get there. And of course, seeing your resilience, your hard work, definitely you'll get there.
Thank you, Diana.
At one point we're having, an argument with Diana on a
Mhm.
statement that says, if a tree falls in a forest and no one is there to witness that it has fallen, does it make a sound? So, it's basically, so if you've worked on something, you really need to get it out there for someone to see. Yeah.
Yes, to see. Yes, that's true.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, this is interesting. I think this discussion is getting to where we want it to get to. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating, that women are taking up the tech space,
Yeah.
and you being one of those strong women, and me coming, of course, next to you. I don't think so. You inspire me by the very inspired. So, given that women are taking that tech space lately,
Yeah.
how do you look at this? What has your experience been like? Have you experienced any kind of resistance or any kind of, like we have that notion that the tech world is for men, back
Hmm.
then it was for men. But given this
that was
revolution,
that was then. That was then. I
yeah,
would
that
say
was then. So we
if you
have come
ask
to take this space up. What has your
first,
experience been like, a woman in tech?
first I would say what a man can do, a woman can do better. The guy should not be
True.
angry.
That's
So
so true.
yes, whenever we put our mind to do, we do it. We do it even more than the guys. I've seen a lot of women doing big things in tech, a whole lot. There are women communities, women tech communities, which I am a strong member because it has helped me to be where I am today. I've been able to speak in the Google communities, women tech communities. I've shared my stories, and I've also seen women get inspired by listening to other people's story because in the whole of Africa, for the percentage of women in tech is just like 2 to 3%, which is very low. It is, but the women tech communities, what they are out here to do is to encourage more women to drop that fear of tech is difficult, tech is for the guys, so there's no need struggling. But we are here to kill that notion. As a woman, you can also be in tech and do great things. I
Absolutely.
there is a lady called Ada from Nigeria. She started the She Code Africa. She started a platform whereby strictly for the females. What they do is they send out vacancies, applications. People sending females sending their applications. So what they do is they train you for some months. You get to build stuff. You get to build maybe a website. If you want to be a front end developer, you get to build websites. If you're a back end, people are a back end developer, you can build algorithms for the front end people. If you're a UI UX designer, you get to work on beautiful designs. If you want to do graphics, you will learn graphics. People are there to mentor you. So what they do is once you're done with your internship, they send you out to companies. They can help you get let me say like a link to make maybe companies are partnering with them right now to get female developers because in the tech space it's well dominated with guys. Like where I worked, the both places I've worked, it was just the first place I worked were just two females to like a whole lot of guys. And it was kind of annoying because the guys were like were the guys and that one. But we still stood our ground and like, you guys are doing this, we're also doing this. So what's the difference? So everybody
I
can learn
know.
this stuff. So the next place I went to, I was the only female in the department. So it was quite challenging. But when you're good with the guys, they will always be out there to help you, to assist you. So
Yeah.
the women tech communities, they are doing a whole lot. I've seen women that are working with Google, women that are working with Twitter. There are a whole lot of persons. They are building communities so that they can train other persons. Because most tech people I've seen these days, they want to retire early. They just want to
Yeah.
make their money, retire early, and then enjoy and just become consultants. You get so people don't. Yes, people
Yeah,
want
and
to
the
become.
money is actually there.
Yeah,
By
the
the
money is
time you retire,
there.
you've had
Yes.
enough.
You just want to be a consultant, giving out
Yeah.
directives to people, and then people
Yeah.
work with it. So of you coding the rest of your life. So these are what the tech communities will do for you. They will train you, they will encourage you, they'll give you resources, they'll give you applications where you can apply for these jobs. Then once you get the job, that's fine. If you don't get, they keep encouraging you and the rest. So the
Yeah.
women tech community is a community I would advise any female out there. If you want to go into tech, you don't go alone. Tech is not a one man's world. You need people.
Yeah. True.
So when you get into communities, communities helped. They helped me in particular. I remembered when I was applying for an open source. It was an open source internship. It is called what was even the name again? Okay, when I remember the name, I'll say it. But
Mm.
outreach, yes, outreach is the name of this of the internship. So I passed the first stage. So while going on to the second stage, so I was asked to do some tasks with PHP. and I haven't done anything with PHP. So I had to start learning PHP and learning how to set up, because it was about a WordPress team. So I had to learn how to set up child's theme and the rest, how to it was purely hard coded, not just using plugins. So I had a deadline, and which I knew I wasn't going to make it. I then reached out to my team coordinator. So around 1 a.m., I sent him a message. I was like, what's the problem? Let's sort it out. So there and then around 1 a.m., he got up. He said he was actually working on something, but since my message came in, he then said, okay, fine, let's sort this out. That's what the community will do for you. I can't just meet a random person to do that. But if you're in a community and you are participating, you are active, if you have any issue, you can always reach out to them, and anytime they will always come through for you. And they always encourage you. They also encourage you to like put your work out there. If they have, like I said, if they have vacancies, they share for you and the rest. So that is what the women tech community do. There's also another tech community, tech for women in Africa. I think they should be rounding up their applications. So like I said, what they do is they train the women so that we can get more women out there to be able to foresee, like to spearhead a whole lot of tech organizations, just like Twitter. As of, was it last month, Twitter was going to employ a female as a CEO, while
CEO,
Elon,
yeah.
yes, while Elon
Oh.
Musk, yes. So women are actually going to take over tech from the guys. I'm sorry,
We
but it's
have
going to
already
happen.
taken,
We have. We're
taken over.
taking
We
it.
just have to run fast and nap.
Actually, we should. I know sometimes we have other things that might keep us busy and the rest, but consistency for me is key. When you're consistent, you are passionate about it, and you keep telling yourself, I need to do this. You need to remind yourself that, okay, I am here for I'm here to learn, to grow, to make the money. The money is very important, because many
Yeah.
people run into tech for the money without
Yeah.
knowing without knowing the sweat side of tech.
Yeah, I
Maybe
also
that's what you
think one
see.
more important thing is continuous learning.
Yes, continuous learning.
That
You
is
have
one
to
thing I
learn.
have learned from you.
You have to learn. You keep learning, because a whole lot is coming up. A whole lot of a whole lot of frameworks are coming up. I don't know why people are not resting. You get, people will just sit down there and begin to think about a framework, and then everybody wants to learn it. But the thing is, I will keep saying, don't learn everything that comes out. Everything that comes out, you want to learn it. No, you don't. There are some frameworks that will not go to until eternity. There are frameworks there, like React. We have Vue.js for front end. So these are frameworks that will not go to eternity. But definitely, there was one framework I saw. Was it last week? Was it Zootsby or something? Something. I was like, which one is this again? They started. We have not even finished learning React and some other things. They're already bringing new frameworks. But for me, one advice I keep following is, don't be like the wind. You don't have any direction. It's not good for. It's not healthy for someone in tech that wants to progress, because when you go out there, when people ask you what skill do you have, you can confidently say, I know this. I know it to a very good level, and you can also defend it. But you can't go out and say, I know this, I know this, I know this, I know that. But when you ask you for a result, you can't even provide the result. It's going to be embarrassing. So like I said, being a woman's tech community is going to help. It's going to help a whole lot of female out there. You see people that were scared to even start. You will hear their stories. You will hear a lot from them, and you definitely, those are stories that will give you inspiration on how to be better, and how to know what next to do. If you're confused on the next step, you can ask somebody, can say, okay, fine, this is what you should do. From this step, you can go to this step, and then you'll be fine. So the women tech community, we're coming. We're already there, but the guys should wait for us.
They should watch out.
They should watch out, okay.
Andrew, what's your thoughts on this?
That's
We have come to take the space.
Yes, we have.
that's why I've been a little bit quiet, just to give you people way to be. You're actually welcome to the table of tech.
It's interesting, actually. But then one other important thing is the way Priscilla always says it: don't be a jack of all trades.
All trades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that with me wherever I go. So as we try to conclude this, I just want you to probably let's give our listeners out there probably some of those those groups that say you've worked with or that have been very significant in your journey in tech, those that you'd say have brought you this far. If you could just probably, I'm sure someone out there would be interested in getting in touch with
Okay.
some of these groups, these women's groups especially. By them, are very strong advocates for women. So, so it would be good for them to have some of these, at the back of their minds or note them somewhere and probably get in touch.
Okay, I think there's something Google does. Google does like for every country, there's a Google's developers group community, GDG. It's called GDG, GDG community. So when you look out for this community in your environment or your region, you definitely see the women tech community, especially on LinkedIn. They are all out there. So once you get on LinkedIn or Twitter, you can find them on Twitter, you can find them on LinkedIn. Once you look out for them, you can send the message to whoever is your team lead. They can also tell you when is their next meetup because they
Okay.
try to hold meetups aside from the once in a year developers festival we have. We also have meetups. Maybe in a month you have like one meetup where people can come and learn new frameworks and learn new stuff. You get, so once you look out for them on Twitter or LinkedIn, GDG. You can look out for GDG Uganda. If you're in Uganda, you can look out for GDG anywherever you're from. You should definitely have a link to see what their community is like. We have other communities. We have like the Code Innovation. Code Innovation is for Atlassian. And Atlassian, I don't know if you know Jira and Trello.
Yeah,
These
yeah,
are
yeah.
project
Yes.
managers. Atlassian, they are the ones that own it. And what these companies do is they try to have a community everywhere, maybe not everywhere, but some specific countries, whereas people can know about their softwares. So if a software is coming up and people don't know about it, it's practically going to die like that. It's going to die a natural death. So what these companies do is when they're trying to bring out a software, they look for community leads, personnel that can help preach the message, preach the software message to that region. So there are a whole lot of communities, and there's an open source community. Open source is another community that is very big. And what you can do on open source, if you're on GitHub, you can look out for open source projects that you can contribute to, even if it's to just correct maybe a word on their documentation. It's fine. You have to just it's a place to start. You get, like I said, I participated in an open source, like was it 2021? Yes, participated in that open source community project. So it also exposed me to how to work with people in the international space because it was a highly competitive one. So to expose you on how to work, how to use some softwares, they can also train you how to use some software. So it's all part of the learning process. So open source is another large community. You don't really need to join any community. Yeah, there is an open source community in Nigeria. So people can there's a festival. They also have a festival where people talk about their open source experience. Because I've seen people that got big offers from just contributing to open source. Yes. So these are communities you can join. You can also look out for them. There are also people you can follow on Twitter. Just when you go on Twitter, sort of surfing around, looking for maybe comedy or stuff like that, and you want to be in tech, you should build your space with everything around tech.
Yeah,
I think so.
absolutely.
So that once you get there, you are being reminded, okay, this is why this is my focus. Even though you should have other time to play, you don't be an overserious person. You cannot you this when you see their tweet, it reminds you that okay, fine, and you also learn new things from them. There are people that when I go on Twitter, when I see their tweet, they are teaching you CSS tricks and stuff like that. There are a whole lot of persons out there. You can just follow them, learn their techniques. There is Danny Code on Twitter. So what he does, Danny Code's stories, it was very inspirational to me because he was I think he worked with McDonald's as a salesperson in McDonald's. So he then left McDonald's and started doing tech. And today, Danny is a very, very influential person in tech. And how did he do it? He was sharing his story on Twitter. You get, so he shared his transition story, how he was always at McDonald's serving people and the rest like that. So he then got to discover, okay, fine, he can do something else aside from making burgers and the rest. So that was when he transitioned into tech and he got his first role. He prepared himself So he got his first role. He kept on sharing his story. And he's one of the persons that have inspired me, that no matter where you're coming from,
Mm.
you can always do it, and you can always get what you want in tech if you are consistent. You
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
there are people that I follow both on LinkedIn, both on Instagram, both on Twitter. I follow them so that whenever they post something new, I see it and I learn. And sometimes I get, maybe sometimes there are some persons that maybe have courses. They can, okay, share out their courses, give you coupon discounts so you can buy those courses and learn. So
Yeah.
those are easy ways of getting resources, because sometimes these resources are very expensive from where we are. From Africa, if you want to buy in dollars, it's kind of expensive. But when you follow
Mhm.
these people, they can give you discount, they can give you a coupon, you can just get it free. You get. So
Mhm.
it's just a way of encouraging people not to give up or not to stay out. So when you get the resources and you learn these resources, then you're good to go. And
Yeah.
you should also interact with them. Just make a comment. Maybe there's someone I know, what he does is just ask JavaScript questions. He could just drop a function and say, okay, fine, what will be the output of this? So when you get to the comment section, you read people's you read people's views, different persons have different views, and you see all those views, they might actually come to one point, like to the answer or the output, but they are coming
Mm.
from different perspective. So you might pick somebody's perspective, read it, and you apply it, and it works for you. You get. So
Yeah.
these are where people share their knowledge on. People don't. One thing I like about tech is people don't hoard knowledge. They try to share it out, because I believe if you teach people, it's a better way of retention. So people want to share, knowledge, want to learn. People are out there to learn. So like me, what I do, I go out there, I bookmark, I retweet, I learn, I try to apply some on my own work too, and it's fine. So that should be it.
Wow, pretty interesting. Priscilla, also, I know this has not been an all smooth journey. I'm sure there were bits of ups and downs. So, and were there any challenges that you had, all through this journey?
Yes, I have. I have. Oh, what is a success story without a challenge?
Absolutely none.
Okay. Okay, first of all, the first challenge was I'd say was doubting myself. Can I do this? Can I not do this? But when I overcame, when I spoke to myself, I said, fine, if you want to do this, you have to decide, make that decision. So when I first made that decision, that was me overcoming my first challenge. My second challenge was the laptop I was using then. It was very scrappy, very, 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 very scrappy. I was not buoyant enough to buy a laptop, so I had to use the one available. And my sister, well, for my sister, so it was a big challenge because I was kind of slow in learning, because the laptop was giving me a really, really strong issue, but I still managed, and I was using it. So another challenge I had was, like I said, imposter syndrome. It's just like you doubting yourself. Can you do this? Can you not do this? And when I was able to save up, when I started the internship, I was able to save up and then get the better laptop. Which and when I got my first internship, I was using there was an official laptop, so it now made me to leave the thought of struggling with my laptop, and then I was now using the official one while I saved up for getting my personal laptop that would work out for me. So that was how I was able to overcome that. But even without a laptop, you can still use your phone. There are free softwares that can help you learn with your phone. There's a software called Solo Learn. Solo Learn, you can download it on Play Store. There are other softwares, there are other apps too that can help you learn on your phone. As you code, you can code on your phone. Once you're coding, you're seeing it on the browser. So it's not as if because you don't have a laptop you won't start something. No, you can always start even with your phone. People have started with their phone. People have started writing code. People started by writing codes on paper, and today they are making it big. So that is not that one is a challenge, but you shouldn't dwell too much on it. You should always look for a way for ways around it. And also, what else again? Being I would say being a lady. I was rejected for one. I think I applied for something, but I was told the project was very fast. According to the excuse I got was, since I'm just starting out and the rest, and I'm a lady, they're not sure I might catch up on time. So they needed a guy and stuff like that. I was like, really?
That was so
Really?
lame.
That's,
Yes, you get
that
it
was
was.
tough.
I was like, okay, so is it that is are you trying to say even if you give me like a week to learn or something? So I said, fine, that's okay. That's not a problem. If it wasn't mine, so if it was mine, I would have gotten it. But that was another encouragement for me. I said, okay, fine. If I can hear this as a rejection, the next one I'm going to hear is going to be okay because I feel we will want you on our team. So that
Yeah.
was what I wanted to hear. So I got so kind. And the next one I got, I told there was only female on the team. So they were like, we needed a female to come and just neutralize the whole team because it was all guys and everybody was just so serious and the rest. So they needed a female to come and neutralize the team. So I was like, okay, fine. One man's food is another man's poison. So the other company, they didn't want me. This company, they want me. So it's where they wanted me, I went to. So
Yeah, they also say any rejection is a blessing.
yes, it is.
Yeah.
So and maybe something better will come out of that rejection. So
True.
that's life. Life happens. So I
Absolutely.
think another challenge I had was let me see. Okay, data was a problem. Data, internet, it's I would say it's a natural problem from where we are coming, but it's not going to be a problem to dwell too much on. We can always look for a way out to sort these things out.
Yeah.
So I think that will be it.
Okay. And in all this, what has been your biggest lesson? Yeah. What is that one thing that you wished you knew just before you took on this journey?
Okay. I wished someone advised me on time to pick a niche. I didn't pick a niche on time. I learned Angular, I was learning React. The first company I was even trying to dive into Java. But yes, if I had someone that advised me, I was like, Priscilla, don't do that. Just pick a niche. Just pick a niche. I should have grown faster than where I am today. But all those things they pulled me back. Like today I don't even use Angular anymore. Like I can't remember what to do. I still know how to set up my NPM and the rest, but I don't use it. If I had known, I would have channeled that energy into using React because React is what is marketable and it's what's in vogue. So I should have channeled all my energy into learning React on time. I should have been an expert by now. But now, as you can see, I'm still learning. I'm working with it currently, but it's not out. It's not as fast and as interesting as I was with Angular. Angular in people don't use Angular again. It's a framework that is going out. It's just people use it, but it's not that popular. So if I had known, I shouldn't have done made those mistakes. I would have just picked a niche, pick what I want to do, and begin to build on it. But like they say, no time is late. So
True.
I think I've been able to correct that part. So right now I'm working on a particular niche.
So you are trying to be a jack of all trades
Yes,
then.
I was. I was.
So listeners, don't be a jack of all trades because you'll end up not mastering anything.
At all.
Okay. So what advice would you have for someone who would want to, start their new journey into tech?
Hmm. Yeah, my advice is don't come into tech with the mindset of I want to make the money in tech because you will suffer. In tech, you will sweat it out. You will have sleepless nights. You will definitely have headaches, time to time headaches. Because you are always thinking. Because there are some days you have an error and then you are like trying to think what should be the solution? What will be the solution? Like it will just your whole mood will be spoiled. Maybe somebody will say something to you, you're angry. It's not as if you're angry for that person, you're angry because you have an error and you're finding it difficult to fix. These are challenges that will definitely come. And you shouldn't give up at that point. You like there is a stage where you get into tech and when you cross that stage, then you know that you're never going back. Because Because when you start everything, when you start HTML, it looks easy. You're like, okay, I can. When you print your first hello world, you're like, yay, I'm a guru in tech. Just hold on. When you move into JavaScript, and you're like, what is this? You get, and you'll be like, really, is this a tech? And you're confused. JavaScript is very confusing, very very confusing. I am still learning JavaScript till today because there are a whole lot of things to be discovered. And maybe you want to make a function, you have to go through another route, and you've always been using one particular route. So when you start the whole tech journey, it's kind of rosy. The learning curve is rosy at first because it's just basic JavaScript, and you just put your colors with CSS, and you're like, yes, I'm a pro, I'm a badass. But when you get to JavaScript and you cannot survive JavaScript, I promise you, you're going to fall out. And that is the point you need to even. That's the point you need to double up in your learning. You have to double up in your passion, because when you fail out at that time and you're like, okay, this is not for me, you give up, and that's all. You're gone. When you leave it for a while, you say, okay, let me leave it, and then I'll come back. When you leave tech, it begins to leave you. So at that point, when you get to that stage, and you don't encourage yourself, you don't give in the motivation you need, you definitely fall out. So I would say, just be prepared. Be prepared for a whole lot that will come. Prepare for the sleepless night. Be prepared for the errors. Be prepared, because everything is a learning curve. When you have an error today and you're able to solve it, when next it comes, you've already overcome that aspect. And when you meet someone that has that errors, you will be proud to say, okay, I've had this encounter before, and I've done this. This is what I did. This is what I did to overcome this error. You'll be happy with yourself. So just, yes, tech money is good. It's sweet. It's very interesting. It's very nice to spend. When someone calls you a tech bro, a tech sis, you're feeling proud and the rest. But you don't know. They don't know the whole effort that goes into it becoming, just by bearing a tech brand, a tech sis. Be ready. Just be ready. Prepare your heart. Prepare your mind. Forget about the money now. When you build with your experience, when you do the basic work, because you have to build your foundation very strong. If your foundation isn't strong, you can't build. So once you build that foundation very well, then you see the tech money begins to come in. But if your foundation is not good, you can never see the tech money. It's not possible. You can't. So it's better you prepare your mind to learn, to keep learning, because you learn every day. You keep learning every day. So just be open minded. Don't be too stiff. Be open minded and talk to people. Talk to people that are in the field. You can reach out to people on LinkedIn, on Twitter, anywhere. Tech people are willing to help you. They can always prefer solutions for you. Just be open minded. It is not a one man's world. Tech is not a one man's world. And like they say, a single tree cannot make a forest. So just have that in mind. You meet people, talk to people. When you have issues, people are there to assist you, and you will see that you are growing, and you're growing fine.
That's correct. All right, Priscilla. Finally, I've been so inspired, by the way, and I'm sure so many of our listeners out there have equally been inspired. Of course, for those that have not been inspired, that I know the number is zero. Those are just listeners, yeah. But at least I've been really inspired by you. Yeah, and I'm sure some of our listeners out there would love to get in touch with you. They would probably want to, just talk to you, get encouraged, know how to go about this. How would they contact you? Is there a way they will contact you? Are you able to probably share links that we can also share?
Okay, I'll share my LinkedIn profile. So I will share it right now, so you can also share it. So anyone can reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Okay, so for our listeners, we'll have this in the notes section. Yeah. So thank you so much, Priscilla, for having us today. We look forward to having you another time.
Sure, I'll be so glad to join.
So Diana, did you learn something today?
Actually, learned a lot. A lot of things I would never learn. I've never have learned in school. If it wasn't for Priscilla, I would never really know some of those things, or most of these things that we've discussed today.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm glad we had this. We had this talk. Priscilla, you're an inspiration to many. Keep going, girl.
Thank you.
Just keep going. Let's take over this. Let's take over the tech world. And for the young ladies out there, the young gentlemen out there, join us in this drive. Let's take Africa to the next level, in
Yes,
terms
you
of
really
tech.
need to. You need to.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was our conversation with Priscilla Ume from Afrotech Talk. This is episode 1. Catch us again in our next episode. And if you would like to get started on your tech skills, we recommend enrolling in a course at Marifa Sasa Academy via the links below. We are your hosts, Andrew and
Diana.
This podcast was directed by Diana and Andrew, edited and produced by Marifa Sasa Studios for Afrotech Talk.